So for your lecture one of the things that we want to start off in terms of accounting would be your conceptual framework. So syempre, before we do journal entries, before we do financial statements, the very first thing that we want to do is to familiarize ourselves in terms of our accounting principles. So for today's lecture, basically tatlo lang naman yung major things that we want to do for today. So first is, syempre, let's explain what accounting is, right? So what it is, what does it do, what are the different steps. From there, we want to identify the different activities and sino ba yung gumagamit. So who are the different users? So whether there will be external or internal. From there, we're gonna be mastering ano ba yung mga building blocks of accounting. Like, what are the generally accepted accounting principles? Ano ba yung mga different assumptions that we take into account in terms of making sure that we're all aligned in terms of accounting. And then, of course, the most important part of today's lecture would be the accounting equation. So we're gonna be taking a deep dive in terms of the master accounting equation. And then from there, we're gonna be analyzing our financial statements. So with that, the very first thing that syempre we want to know is what is accounting, right? So accounting, in its most formal definition, it's a financial information system that essentially does three major things. It identifies, it records, and communicates. And then the next question would be, ano ba yung in-identify niya? One of the things that it identifies is what we call economic events. So of course, when you run businesses, when you run corporations, marami nangyari, right? Like not only in terms of financial, but also in terms of like your different operations. You hire people, you win awards, but not all of those events are economic in nature, right? So the very first thing that I want you to master would be ano ba yung mga three different steps, right? So for identification, out of all the different things that happen to the entity or to the company, syempre, the first thing that you have to know is which among those transactions, which among those events do we need to record? So the first thing is you identify. From there, when you identified your economic event, you will now then record them through journal entries. And then further, you're gonna be classifying them and summarizing them essentially into the final step, which would be financial statements. So at the end, after you record everything, the main goal is for you to communicate. Like, you prepare your reports and you interpret for the users. So, essentially, by doing this, it enables accounting to be the language of business. So again, by identifying these economic events, by recording them and also classifying them properly, you're able to create reports that will essentially be the basis of every decision made by the company. So the first thing is in terms of identification. What's the difference between economic event and a personal event, right? So punta muna tayo dun sa economic event. This is the one that you need to record. So it's an economic event if it has three major things. Number one is it's consequential to the business entity. Number two, it's a transaction. So parang may mga numerical amounts attached to it. And therefore, number three, it's measurable in terms of monetary units. So if it fulfills those criteria, that's an economic event. Versus, on the other hand, you'll have your personal event. So the personal event naman is completely unrelated to the business or it's not quantifiable na hindi mo siya makakount in terms of monetary means, right? So, economic event, we record. Personal event, we ignore. Okay? So, with that said, let's look at an example. Let's say, I think now, ang nauuso now is like climbing, pickleball, right? And then before, it was also cycling, right? Spinning. So, let's say, you're a person that wants to start their own spin studio, right? So, what's an example of an economic event? If you buy 50 spin bikes for their bike studio at 54,000 each, then of course, that's an economic event. We record that. That's under accounting. So, it's important to the business and there's a clear amount of measurable transaction in the form of 54,000 each, right? On the other hand, if you buy a spin bike outside of that 50, pero it's for your own personal consumption sa bahay, and even though alam mo na it's probably 54,000 rin, even though it's measurable to buy the money, dahil personal use mo siya, it should not be accounted, right? So it's a personal event. So which one will we record? It's only the one that's used for business. Anything that you use for your own personal gain or consumption is, of course, something that's not to be recorded under the entity's accounting. Next, in your first month, nag-earn ka ng 100,000 in revenue from increased membership. Again, it's an economic event. It's related to the business and it's measurable in terms of money. Number 2, in contrast, if you heard na, wow, parang kami pala yung most hype spin cycle studio in Metro Manila, parang all the influencers are going, that's not something that you can record, right? Because it's not something that's measurable in money, right? It's related to your spin studio, pero wala kang monetary amount na ma-attach to that. And therefore, itong dalawa lang yung i-record natin. So with that said, after you're able to identify, okay, out of these 4 events, we're only gonna be recording these 2 economic events. The next step would be to record it. So once we've identified this economic event, which we now call a transaction, after this transaction, we will turn it into a journal entry. So every economic event, may isa siyang journal entry, right? So debit cash, 100,000, credit sales revenue. So for lecture 1, wala pa tayong mga journal entries, pero I just want you to know the overall flow. So may event, you record through journal entries. And then, of course, when you extend this to a year, syempre madaming mga events. Bibili ka, tataas yung revenues mo, may mga expenses ka, magbabayad ka sa Meralco, magbabayad ka ng mga salaries. Sobrang daming events na mangyayari throughout the month and throughout the year. Itong isang journal entry na to, eventually, dadami yan, right? So magkakaroon ka ng around 20 plus or 10 plus amounts of journal entry. Of course, you'll consolidate it into a financial statement. So the financial statement is just basically a summary of the different components. So particularly, if you're looking at revenues and expenses, that will fall under the first type of financial statement called the income statement. So after you record journal entries, you're able to communicate it into different financial statements. So in essence, lahat ng gagawin natin for the SEM all falls under these 3 things. Identify, record, and communicate. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions is that accounting is equal to bookkeeping. Parang, pag sinabi na, you're a CPA, so you're a bookkeeper. Now, that's the reason why that's wrong is because bookkeeping only pertains to one part of the accounting process, which would be the recording. So, true or false, accounting is bookkeeping. False because it only covers the recording process. Meaning, bookkeeping, gumagawa ka ng journal entries. So, the next thing that I want to highlight is that, of course, there's this thing in finance called garbage in, garbage out, right? So, the idea here is that accounting is only as useful as the information it presents. So, there are qualitative characteristics that you have to take into account. So, this one, rather than taking a deep dive, I just want you to be familiar in terms of the 2 fundamental and the 4 enhancing qualitative characteristics. So, fundamentally, ang pinaka-essential characteristic of the information it should be relevant, meaning it's material. Na pag wala siya, if you omit that particular information, biglang ma-affect yung decision. So, it's relevant, so it's material, and it's reliable. It's a faithful representation of what is actually happening. So, it's complete, it's neutral, and it's free of error. So, the 2 fundamental is it's relevant and reliable. Now, in terms of enhancing qualitative characteristic, in terms of enhancing this particular, kailangan, well, in my head, how I remember it is VCUT, right? So, it has to be verifiable. So, syempre, one of the things is, syempre, when I double-check the books and people observe it differently, they'll reach a consensus na, okay, tama yung ginawa mo. Number 2 is it's comparable, meaning it's consistent in terms of your accounting methods from month to month. Number 3 is it's understandable. So, understandable in the sense na people in the industry, people in business completely understand it, right? And then finally, it's timely. So, it's available just in time in order for you to properly make timely decisions. So, again, there's 2 fundamental qualitative characteristics and 4 enhancing. So, it has to be relevant and reliable. But at the same time, to enhance the information, it has to be VCUT. Verifiable, comparable, understandable, and timely. So, with that said, that's basically the definition of accounting. Are there any questions? If none, we're gonna be proceeding to, okay, we know what accounting is. The next question would be, who uses accounting, right? So, sino ba yung mga users? So, there are 3 types of different organizations, right? So, you have your sole prop, you have your partnership, and your corporation. Now, marami yang mga similarities and differences. So ang pinaka-obvious is the number of owners. So, for sole prop, right, you technically have one owner, right? For partnership, it's 2 or more partners. In corporation, at least 5. Pero I don't know if you're gonna be taking some law classes. Actually, there's one-person corporations already. Pero generally, in terms of incorporators, it's at least 5. So technically, that's the idea. Now, in terms of capital, sole prop, siya yung pinaka-limited. So imagine ako, mag-start ako ng my own streetwear brand. Of course, my capital, the amount of money that I'm able to do, is limited to the amount of money that I have, right? So my capital is very limited. Pag partnership, if I partner with my friends, of course, capital naming dalawa. So medyo mas malaki, right? Versus, yung pinakamalaking capital is the corporation. So they issue shares, and that's why ang pinakamalaki yung capital, most of the time, would be your corporations. In terms of liability, mas mahirap rin na sole prop ka. Siyempre, kung maybe not a streetwear brand, but nagbebenta ako ng cheese sticks, let's say, here in UP. Kapag yung isa, bigla silang nalason of that cheese stick, my personal liability is unlimited. Meaning, pag kinasuhan ako, they can go after my own property because I'm the sole owner of that business. Sa partnership, it depends. If you're a general partner, so taga-invest ka lang, or basically kayo nag-run, medyo mas higher yung liability mo compared to like an investment partner na up to their investment lang. And then finally, kung corporation ka, so kaya nag-invest ka into a railway corporation and then may accident and then there's a lawsuit, ang risk mo lang in terms of liability is up to the amount you invested in. So let's say nag-invest ka ng 25,000, yun lang yung habol nila sa'yo. Hindi ka nila pwedeng kasuhan for your house, etc., etc. So, there are different pros and cons in terms of the different ownerships. So, sa sole prop, it's limited in partnership because of the lifetime of the partners involved. Pero corporations are perpetual. And then, the general idea is, it's simpler to run sole props and then mas mahirap in terms of corporations because maraming mga regulations. So next is, okay, so those are the different stages. So you'll have your sole prop, you'll have your partnership, you'll have your corporation. Now, the next question is, who actually uses accounting data? Broadly, you can look at it into 2 spectrums. You'll have your internal users and your external users. Internal, yung mga nasa company. External, yung mga stakeholders outside. If you say managerial accounting, that refers to internal users. So, it's for managers, it's for internal reports, checking in terms of ano ba yung mga projections mo of income, ano ba yung mga forecasts mo of cash needed, versus financial accounting. Financial accounting is what we're gonna be discussing in Accounting 1. This is targeted for external users, right? So, it's for investors, so magbabuy ba ako or magsisell ako ng shares. It's for creditors, for bankers and suppliers to evaluate, okay, liquid ba sila? Is this something that I can grant a loan to or not? It's for government agencies to assess kung if they're compliant. It's for customers to see whether maganda ba yung company performance. And also for labor unions. So these are just examples, but the key takeaway here is this. External users use financial accounting, and that's what we're going to be focusing on. Internal is managerial accounting. So, the idea here is, users are managers, controllers for managerial accounting, investors, creditors, government, and bank for financial accounting. For the POV, managerial accounting, when you really think about it, it's more oriented towards the future. How do we improve the company through managerial accounting, through our reports, through our standards? Versus financial accounting is historical in nature. Parang ito yung position niya now, ito yung performance niya, it's up to the external users to assess kung ano ba yung mga information that they deem necessary. And then the use, usually, pag managerial accounting, it's special purpose. Iba-iba yung mga natures and types of businesses. So therefore, yung mga managerial accounting, medyo special purpose siya, depending on the nature of business. Versus financial accounting, it's more general purpose. Meaning, parang even though iba-iba kayo, generally, you'll still have income statements, you'll still have financial position, kasi more of external yung gagamitin. So, just to parang make sure na we're all aligned in terms of the definition, let's just quickly go through this. So, let me know kung internal or external, right? So, investor, ang gusto niya malaman is the business is earning satisfactory income. Is this internal or external? External, right? Next, bank. Will the company be able to pay its debt as it falls due? External. So your CFO, is cash sufficient to pay our bills for the next month? Okay, so medyo divided. This is internal, right? Why? Because the CFO is part of the company, right? And therefore, internally, ang gusto niya malaman, liquid ba tayo to pay our debts? So this is an internal use, and therefore, usually, titingnan niya mga accounting management questions, right? BIR, is the company paying correct taxes? External, internal? External. And then finally, marketing manager, which product line is the most profitable? Internal. So if you're a member of the company, internal user ka. If you're outside, it's primarily external, right? So we're clear na, right? We know who uses them, what are the different types of corporations and entities, and the different activities. Now, we go to the building blocks. So before we go to the accounting equation, meron lang kayong mga different theories and assumptions that you need to take into account. So first is, one of the things I mentioned is that accounting is a universal scorecard. The reason why it's able to be a universal scorecard is because we have standard setting bodies, or in accounting, we call them the standards, right? So, in accounting, yung mga iniiyakan ng mga BAA here in CBA is yung IFRS. So, it's the International Financial Reporting Standards. So, it's just literally a rule book. And then yun yung aaralin mo on like how to account for everything, right? So, it's a principles, rules, and standards in order for you to gauge ano ba yung appropriate measurement and communication of the different users of accounting reports. So, IFRS, they standardize the rules for accounting internationally. Kaya nga, International Financial Reporting Standards. So, sa Philippines, basically, nilocalize lang natin siya. So, if meron kang International Accounting Standards Board and international, so yung gumagawa ng IFRS, ang tawag sa kanila is IASB, right? International Accounting Standards Board. Sa Philippines, basically tinagalog lang natin. So FRSC, Financial Reporting Standards Council, SIL, makes PFRS, Philippine Financial Reporting Standards, right? So that's basically the same thing. So not necessarily something that pero as long as marinig niyo lang IASB, it's the board. IFRS is the rules or the standards. The Philippine counterpart is FRSC, and PFRS yung ginagamit natin here in the country. Now, in terms of building blocks, we have different measurement principles. So, we have historical cost principle and fair value principle. So, later, when we take a deep dive in terms of the different assets, meron kayo malalaman na, okay, land, accounts receivable, cash, meron siyang different measurements. Some will fall under historical cost. Some will fall under fair value. As of the moment, I don't want you to hyperfixate muna on fair value kasi it's more of a complex concept. Ang gusto ko muna maintindihan nyo is historical cost concept, which is, i-record mo lang siya upon the cost when you incurred, right? So parang magkano mo ba siya nakuha o nabili, right? Versus, when I say fair value, it's the general market value. I'm pretty sure you've come across this term. Pero the technical definition is, it's recording the price at an arm's length transaction in such a way that a price would be received to sell an asset or a price that will be paid to settle a liability. Not really something that we have to pay attention to right now. But I want you to think more of the historical cost. So let's say, bumili ako ng lupa sa Antipolo ng September 2020 and I bought it at 10 million. Now, in Bulacan pala. And then let's say na, nag-announce pala sila na may airport building in Q1 2021. So yung 10 million kong lot, yung evaluation sa kanila naging 12 million. If I say that I need to record it under historical cost, what should I measure it at? 10 million or 12 million? 10 million, right? So 10 million because historical cost. Versus kung fair value, kung ano yung fair value niya. or your market price. So in that case, that would be 12 million. But for land, it's historically, we use the historical cost principle. So we're now done with historical cost. So fair value and current value, these are just things that I'll also be teaching you, particularly when we reach mga liabilities na and receivables. Next is, in terms of key assumptions, there are 4 other assumptions that I want us to focus on in terms of the building blocks. So across the different accounting entities, these are the 4 things that I want you to think about, or ito ba yung mga parang underlying assumptions?
Sir,
Yeah.
sa historical cost versus fair value principle, if we see it sa exam, for example, is it something that's given or may parang set standard na if we mention land and then
Correct,
historical
yeah.
cost? Or...
Great question. So, in terms of like the treatment, one of the things that we'll learn about is, depending on the type of asset, meron na rin siyang measurement kung paano mo siya i-measure. So, one of the expectations would be, alam nyo dapat. So, for example, kung land, dapat it's at cost in terms of like the asset. So, yun, something to take account in terms of like each of the different assets and liabilities and equity that we're gonna be doing. Yeah. Thank you so much for that question. So, moving on, the first assumption that I want us to take note of is, similar to economic events, we have this thing called the monetary unit assumption, na only transaction data that can be expressed in terms of money should be included in the accounting record. So like what, kwari, if people started, parang nag-viral yung Spin Studio mo, people are harping on it, you win awards, but kung wala siyang monetary or cannot be expressed in monetary unit, you can't record that. So that's basically the monetary unit assumption. Everything in accounting, dapat yung mga journal entry should be expressed in terms of money. Next is economic entity. Ito na yung parang very crucial. When I start my own personal business, it's separate from my personal life, right? So, under the economic entity, the activities of the business should be separate and distinct from my own personal activities. So, for example, nagbebenta ako ng cheese sticks, right, here in UP. Let's say, nakaipon ako ng mga around 20,000. Kumuha ako ng pera doon, right? And then, bumili ako ng induction cooker. Pero ginamit ko yung induction cooker na yun sa bahay namin, right? So, hindi na siya asset nung entity. Asset ko yun, right? So, ang only transaction lang na i-record ko is the time na I got the money away from the business. Kasi nawalan siya ng pera eh. Pero kung ano man yung gagawin ko dun sa money na yun, wala na siyang pake because we are separate and distinct. So that's basically economic entity. The entity is separate from your personal transactions. The only time you will interact is when you invest into the entity. So you have a capital investment or you draw from it. Kumuha ka ng pera. Pero whatever happens to that money, personally, hindi yun na natin papakilaman under the economic entity. Right? So, let's practice. To record or not to record. So, a marketing director purchases a MacBook to edit family videos using their own money. Is that something that you record or not? No. No, right? Kasi personal consumption. Next, yung owner, nag-prepay raw siya ng fire insurance for the restaurant business. Yes or no? Yes. Kasi related. A mid-level employee was fired. Do we record or not record? Okay. Hindi. Why? Because more than the separate entity, it's monetary unit, right? Like, in the sense na, hindi ka naman, well, it will apply technically kasi bababa yung expenses mo, but at the same time, you don't say na, may journal entry ka na a level was fired, right? So, technically, that's cannot be expressed in monetary unit. It's the lack of it, therefore, na hindi natin may record, right? An entrepreneur took out money to buy personal branded goods. Why do we record this? Because kumuha siya ng pera from the entity. So we record that. And then finally, I took out a loan from the bank for a bakery business. Record or not? Record. Because you got money to inject to the business, right? Umutang yung entity. Right? So, general idea, it has to be expressed in money. It has to be in the guise of separate or economic entity. Yeah. Yes, question.
From the bank po, yung from the employee, if like the situation was, sinabi mo na
Yeah. Mm-mm. Pero parang kasi usually what happens in the problem is that January 1 hired 5 employees, and then ang ask sa'yo, is there a journal entry here? The answer is no. Pero January 30, we pay the employee 5,000 pesos each. I-record natin dun. So sa January 30 yung recognition. Pero sa January 5, the firing, wala siyang monetary nakakabit. That's why we don't record. Yeah. Great question. So, next is going concern. So, honestly, ang dami, when you think about it, listing down the everyday activities is tiring, right? Parang everyday na lang, every transaction, every scan ng barcode sa grocery, technically may journal entry yon, right? Hindi ba hassle yun kung feeling mo, next month naman, malulugi yung company tapos magsasarado yan, right? So therefore, one of the common agreements when it comes to accounting is that everything is going concern. Meaning, parang any entity the assumption is it will continue to operate in the foreseeable future. Wala siyang magbabankrupt yan next month, etc., etc. It's status quo. Month on month, it will still continue as a going concern, right? So, the financial statements are normally prepared on the assumption na the entity will continue in its operation. And then finally, the last thing is time period assumptions. So, the idea here is that financial statements usually span a year. But some companies, they start April to April, so April to April, or January to December. But the general idea is it's segmented by time periods, right? And the idea is, per time period, it has to be consistent each year. So, finally, we're now to the accounting equation. So, everything I've said, honestly, those are just theory things or good to know. So, the idea lang is I just want us to speedrun in the same way that we're already in the same place when we see accounting. Sino ba yung mga users? Ano ba yung mga underlying assumptions? Now, the chunk of today's lecture will really focus on the most important part, which would be our accounting equation. So, everything that we're gonna be doing will just fall under this one major equation. And this is a concept na I really want you to master. So, I want you to think about yourselves, right? And basically some other businesses. One of the things that I want to point out, or one of my realizations as I study accounting, is that this one major thing. That everything that you own, or everything that the business owns, has to come from somewhere, right? Either it's lent to you by a third party or put up by the owner. So everything I own in my life is something that either ako yung sarili kong pinundar, like probably I bought the jug, or probably like I bought like a phone, or binigay sa akin, or someone was lent to me, like binigay sa akin yung jug, right? So all of my belongings, everything that I own, dalawa lang yung sources niyan. Either ako sarili ko yung pinundar ko, I put it up by myself, or it came from a third party that was lent to me. And therefore, assets is everything that you own as a business. So, asset is everything that a business owns. Now, the asset has two sources. Equity, which is what the owners put up, what the owners invest. And liabilities. The things that you're able to acquire, but for some unknown reason, you have an obligation to pay back. So, therefore, everything you own is either lent by a third party or put up by the owner. And by doing that, the general equation would be your assets will be equal to your liabilities and equity, right? So that's the God equation of accounting. Like kung lahat na makalimutan nyo, ito lang yung wag nyong kalimutan. Assets is equal to liabilities plus equity. And therefore, whenever you do a transaction or record a journal entry and you check every financial statement, palagi yan magbabalanse. It will always balance. Your assets will always equal your liabilities plus equity at every given point, right? So assets is equal to your liabilities and equity. Of course, because ito yung formula natin, we already know how to derive should be the liabilities and equity portion, right? So let's take a look at this example. So one of the parang common questions would be, what is the total situation of the company? So, let's go through each. So, first question, missing yung assets. What would be the asset? 100,000. It's just basically 25 plus 75 is equal to 100,000. Right? Next, your assets is 450,000. Yung liabilities mo is 95. How much, therefore, is your equity? 355, right? So, how do you get it? 450 minus 95. 355. 38,000 si assets. Si equity naman yung binigay. Ano yung liabilities? 8,000, right? So, basically, it's just a jigsaw puzzle. You fill in the gaps, right? Now, yung equity, sinabi, equity is 2 times more than the liability. So, parang math question. So, anong first step natin dito? We first look at the liability, right? So, equity is 2 times more than the liability, meaning our liability is half, 25,000. And therefore, dahil 25,000 si liability and equity is 50,000, our asset would be 75,000. So, ganun lang, right? So, in a lot of questions, may missing amount lang. Assets, liabilities, equity. You just have to understand the relationship, right? But ultimately, it follows the equation, assets is equal to liabilities plus equity. Next. Now, let's focus on the definition on how to classify between assets, liabilities, and equity. Right? So, formal definition. An asset is essentially a resource. And this resource should be controlled by the entity. Right? And then, usually, syempre, it's coming from a past event. So, yung past event, ang mangyayari sa kanya is that meron kang future economic benefits na mangyayari. For example, cash. It's the pinakamadaling intindihan. Everyone has experience naman handling cash, right? Cash is a resource, right? But pero yung cash na nasa wallet nyo, hindi ko naman yun asset because that's not controlled by me, right? So therefore, the cash needs to be my resource controlled by my own entity. Next is, it's a result of a past event. Probably, nakuha ko yung cash na yun kasi binigyan ako ng allowance or pinasahod ako ng UP, right? And then the future economic benefits is basically anything I can buy, right? So, whether that would be, food, drinks, etc., TikTok shop, mga budol sa 11-11, etc., etc. Those are my future economic benefits. So, the idea here is every asset follows the same way. It's a resource controlled by the entity na may future economic benefits ka that are expected to flow in, right? So, cash is easy, right? So, the benefit is cash is the most liquid form of assets because you can buy anything you want with it. Next is receivables. In the next few lectures, we're gonna be taking a deep dive in each. Pero receivables, technically, merong utang yung person sa'yo. So for example, my friend, pinautang ko siya ng 10,000 pesos, right? Meron akong accounts receivable from him. He owes me 10,000 pesos. Technically, asset pa rin yun. Because that's something I can control. My benefit is, my receivable, pag bigay niya ng 10,000 sa akin, magiging cash, right? So, therefore, that's a receivable. If someone owes you money, that's an accounts receivable, and that's why it's an asset. Next is supplies. So, why are office supplies an asset rather than an expense? Generally, yung supplies, syempre, for example, if you're working for like a post office, yung mga staplers nyo, yung mga pens, it helps you conduct the business. And by conducting the business, mag-generate ka ng cash. So everything technically leads back to cash, right? And then, same with inventory. I'm selling t-shirts. I'm selling light sticks. I'm selling jugs. The future economic benefit is, pag nabenta ko yung inventory ko, I can turn that into cash. Right? So, that's another thing. Now, prepaid expenses. So, ito yung medyo mahirap intindihin. Usually, when you say prepaid expenses, the most common that you'll see is prepaid rent and prepaid insurance. So, for example, I am a bike studio and I wanna rent in AS, right? So, parang, technically, I have to pay raw 5,000 per month. Right? Sa AS, 5,000 per month. Pero, hindi sila papayag na every month ako magbabayad ng 5,000. Ang gusto nila, magbayad ka ng good for 10 months. So, technically, I'll pay 50,000 worth of rent at the start pa lang. Right? So on day one, that would be considered a pure asset. It's a prepaid rent. Why? Because it's a resource you can control, the rent. Pero yung future economic benefit mo is, in the next 10 months, sa akin to. That's the future economic benefit. Pero as you consume the asset, so after 1 month, 1 out of the 10th magiging expense, the 9 out of the 10th would remain as prepaid asset or prepaid rent. But again, this is actually a lecture 2.5 topic, but the general idea is, if you prepay something na merong duration, 1-year insurance, 6-month rent, at the start, it's an asset. It's prepaid rent or prepaid expense. And then yung pinakamadali, PPE, land, building, machine, equipment, these are things that help you conduct the business, and therefore, you use it in the operations, and therefore, it's cash, right? So, essentially, these are your assets. So, ideally, this is something that parang nagigets nyo, pero it's also something that if nahirapan kayo, you just memorize and familiarize yourself, right? So, assets are cash, accounts receivable, inventory, prepaid expenses, property, plant, equipment. Yun lang yung isipin nyo in terms of assets. On the other hand, liabilities are obligations, right? It's a present obligation arising from a past event. So for example, ang pinaka-classic is umutang ka sa bank, right? So pag umutang ka sa bank, the past event is umutang ka, right? May money ka na now. Your liability is a present obligation for you to pay that back. And dahil babayaran mo, it's an expected outflow from the entity. Kaya siya liability, right? So asset is future economic benefits flowing in, pero liabilities, it's a present obligation expected to flow out. So ano ba yung mga things that are your obligations? First is accounts payable. So going back to the scenario, on my end, may accounts receivable ako from my friend that owes me 10,000 pesos, right? Pero from the perspective of friend A, si friend A, kailangan niya akong bayaran ng 10,000 pesos after the term na pinag-usapan namin. So on his end, meron siyang accounts payable. So yung accounts receivable ko from my end is an accounts payable from another entity's end, right? So that is the obligation and the outflow. Another thing is accrued expense. So, I don't know kung sino na yung mga nagpa-part-time now or parang meron na kayong experience in terms of getting paid. In an ideal world, tumataas yung money natin every day. Pero usually, ang bayaran is every 15th and 30th of the month. Right? So, pag 14th pa lang, like, let's say, August 14, nagtrabaho na ako for 14 days. Right? Technically, the company owes me my salary. Right? That's what you call an accrued expense. Meron silang salary payable. Hindi pa nila binabayaran, so that's a salary payable on my end. Right? So, that's a wages payable. So, ang outflow ng company is kailangan mong bayaran, pero na-render na yung service. That's why it's a past obligation. Notes payable is what we call usually when we loan from the bank. Because the difference between notes payable and accounts payable is it has a written contract that you have a money owed. So, technically, it's the same. Accounts payable lang if it's between parties tapos wala masyadong formal contract. Usually, we use notes payable kapag bank. And then usually, kapag umuutang ka, ano yung incentive ng bank? May interest. Right? So, meron ring interest payable. When you borrow, meron ka rin kailangang bayarang interest payable. And then, finally, salaries, wages payable is just the same. So, that's liabilities. So, again, it's accounts payable, notes payable, and then you'll also have your accrued expenses, and then you'll have your interest payable and salaries, wages, expense. And then, lastly, ang pinakamadaling i-explain is equity. Yung equity, its formal definition lang is it's residual interest. Meaning, when you really look at the equation, residual interest lang siya. Assets minus liabilities, kung ano yung matira, that's your equity. Right? So, residual interest in terms of the assets. Right? So, now, we're gonna be focusing on equity. So, clear tayo sa assets, clear tayo sa liabilities. Let's now look at equity. Let's go back to my previous example. I start my own business. The first two components of equity that I want you to familiarize yourselves would be owner's capital and owner's drawings. Owner's capital, I put 10,000 pesos in my business. When you infuse money, that's owner's capital. When you get money, kumita na yung business mo, kukuha ka syempre ng money doon. That's called owner's drawings. So, whenever you invest in a company, that increases your equity. Whenever you draw from the money, that is owner's drawings. Any questions or clear pa naman? Okay. Aside from this, we can now expand our accounting equation. So, ano yung equity natin? It's composed of owner's draw capital and owner's drawings. So, therefore, from this simple equation, we can now break down equity. Assets is equal to liabilities plus owner's capital minus owner's drawings, right? So that's the next equation. And then, let's complicate this further. So, owner's capital increases equity, owner's drawing decreases equity. Now, yung owner's capital, meron pa yang dalawang subcomponents aside from the investments. So, owner's capital, yun yung pinasok mo, right? When you run the business, may dalawa pang mangyayari. You'll get income or revenue, and then you'll have to pay out expenses. So, aside from the investment, may tutubo sa revenue, so income, revenue, meron ka mawawalang pera from the expenses. So, what are the four components of equity? Owner's capital and income or revenue increases equity. So, those are the two components. Owner's drawings and expenses decrease equity. So, therefore, the next thing that I want you to familiarize yourselves would be, ano ba yung net income or net loss? Whenever say, accounting profit, etc., etc., people always say, ano ba yung net income? Ano ba yung net loss? Essentially, what that means is that revenue minus expense is equal to net income or net loss. Kapag mas mataas yung revenue mo, that's an income. Kapag mas marami yung expenses mo, that's a net loss. So, for example, nagbebenta ako ng cheese sticks, I earned 5,000 in one month. Ang gastos ko doon, ang expenses ko doon was around 6,000. So therefore, is it a net income or a net loss? 5,000 yung kinita ko revenue, 6,000 yung expenses ko. Net loss of 1,000. Nalugi ako, right? So net loss. Right? Pero kung 10,000 yung income ko, pero 6,000 yung expense ko, that's an income, right? Of 4,000. So, generally, these are just some other ideas between revenue, but I don't want you to hyperfixate on it. The general idea lang here is that revenues increase the economic benefit. So usually, either because of an increase on our asset or a decrease in liability. So, ang common accounts lang yan is service revenue or sales revenue. Yeah.
May term po ba kung yung revenue po is equal to yung expenses?
Parang usually, wala naman siya. Parang, in terms of that, parang, I think meron, pero right now hindi ko maalala. Pero, we'll get back to you. Pero generally, zero lang yung, net zero lang yung idea. And then, you'll have revenue and expenses will be basically just your decreases in economic benefits. So basically, these are outflows or depletions of assets, right? So, the general idea here is that net income or net loss is just the difference between your income and your expenses, right? So, if it's a net income, your equity will increase because mas mataas si revenue, of course. Pag net loss, bababa si equity kasi mas mataas si expenses, right? So with that said, we can now go into our expanded accounting equation. So step 1, we broke down equity to owner's capital and owner's drawings. The reason why plus owner's capital is because it increases equity. The reason why minus is owner's drawings decrease your equity. Now, the expanded accounting equation will now be owner's capital, yung mga investments mo pa rin, pero plus revenue minus expense. So technically, ito yung pinakamahabang accounting equation. Assets is equal to your liabilities plus owner's capital plus revenue minus expense minus owner's drawings. Or simply, sometimes, kung pag-prepare mo na si revenue and expense plus net income, or kung mas mataas naman si expense, minus net loss. So, ganun lang, right? So, the general idea here is that from our basic accounting equation, we now have our expanded accounting equation. Assets is equal to liabilities plus equity, pero broken down into 4 components. Plus owner's capital, plus revenue, minus expense, minus owner's drawings. So, let's go to parang yung mas mahirap na questions. Let's break down the formula. First question is, anong uunahin yung isolve? Yung liabilities or yung equity? Yung equity muna, right? So, let's first solve equity. Equity is 180, 30, 25. So, ang gagawin ko is 100,000 plus 80, minus 80,000 plus 30,000 minus 25,000. That will be 25,000, right? Right? So, 25,000. 20,000 yung difference ng owner's capital and owner's drawings, and then 5,000 from the revenues and expense. So, next question. From this idea, what is your net income? 5,000, right? So, every time I have, so usually kasi paragraphs accounting, para, I don't know, para malito or something. For me, I just basically list them down like this. And then, parang, once I have this formula, I can answer any question, right? So, net income is 5,000. Bakit? Kasi 30 minus 25. And then finally, what's your liability? 25,000. Because 50 minus 25, liability. So, ganun lang. Basically, you've mastered the accounting equation. So, okay, next question. Ito naman yung binigay. What do we solve first? Yung equity or yung expense na missing? Yung equity. So, yung equity muna tayo. So, what's their equity? 140. Right? Why? Kasi, so, usually, medyo, at first, malilito muna kayo kasi there's 2 ways, right, of solving. Either gagamitin nyo to or gagamitin nyo to. Right? Pero, the reason why bakit hindi nyo to pwedeng gamitin, kasi may missing yung expense. Therefore, ang mas sure tayo is the first method, which is assets minus is equal to liabilities plus equity. So, your equity should be 40,000. Right? Now, dahil alam nyo na to, the idea lang here is that whatever you put here, kailangan maging 40,000 yung equity. Yun lang yung kailangan nyo gawin. So, paano natin yun gagawin? So, usually ako, ang ginagawa ko is I just binabangga ko lahat. So, first step, 20,000 minus 10,000 is equal to 10,000, right? 10,000 plus the revenue is equal to, of 80,000 is equal to 90,000. So, currently, yung equity natin is 90,000. Kailangan 40,000 siya. So, ano yung expense natin? 50. So, kailangan mo siyang bawasan ng 50. Yun. So, that's basically the idea. So, ito yung mga common formats in question. So, kung master nyo na to, then you have a pretty good grasp in terms of the different relationships. Right? So, in the problem set, meron kayong mga ganong mga questions and yun yung mga i-focus nyo para lang alam nyo kung ano yung mga different relationships. And then the last thing that we're gonna be looking into would be in terms of analyzing our different business transactions. So again, transactions are economic events that are recorded, right? So yun yung definition natin ng transactions. Economic events that are recorded. Now, let's now look at a sample month of a consulting firm. So introducing Macy Consulting. So si Macy Consulting started in May 1 and basically maraming nangyari sa kanya during May 1 from 1 to 30, right? So everything we have to create a journal entry. Pero, since medyo we're still beginning, there's this thing called basic transaction analysis and advanced transaction analysis. Honestly, supposedly, mas basic siya. Pero I assure you, mas maganda mag-journal entries. Pero ito, medyo madugo. But I think the reason why we start here is so that you always think in the framework of assets, liabilities, and equity. So, I'll talk you through. Ano yung difference? In the transaction analysis, una nyo muna is ililist down nyo muna lahat ng transactions. Right? In basic, ang gusto nyo lang ipakita is ano lang yung relationships niya in assets, liabilities, and equity. Up or down. Para lang makita nyo that it always balances out. Kasi kailangan balance every transaction. Right? So, kailangan up and down lang siya. So, increase, decrease lang, assets, liabilities, and equity. Advanced transaction analysis, you then explode the assets into the different accounts na. So, assets to, pero cash, receivable, supplies. Liabilities ito, equity ito. And then, rather than just increases or decreases, maglalagay na tayo ng numbers. And then, doon yung makikita na in the end, magbabalanse siya into yung pinag-aaralan natin kanina, na assets is equal to liabilities plus equity. So, let's do it one by one. So, please answer it with me para hindi kayo mawala. So, first is basic transaction analysis. So, let's do it together. Macy invested 7,000 cash in the business. What are the two components na ma-affect? Correct. Assets and equity. Right? So, balance siya. Right? Tumaas si asset, and then on the other side, tumaas si equity. So, balance pa tayo. Next is, you paid 900 for the office rent for the month. Bababa si asset. And bababa rin si equity. Right? So, bababa si asset, bababa si equity. Specifically, bakit bababa si asset, bababa si cash? Nagbayad ka. Equity, it's an expense. Right? Next is, nag-purchase ka ng 800 of supplies on account. Ano yung mga accounts na ma-affect? Liabilities and asset. Right? So, back in the conversation, ano yung sinasabi natin about supplies pag hindi mo pa nagamit? It's an asset. So, tataas si asset. May supplies ka. Pero, may inutang ka. So, one of the key things is, pag nakita nyong on account, automatic, one of the things is, account payable ba to? So, account payable, right? 125 to advertise in country news. That would be, nagbayad ka ng 125 to advertise in the country news. Asset down. Equity down, right? Kasi expense, that's paid by cash. Now, you receive 4,000 cash for services performed. That's, okay, obviously asset yon, tumaas yung cash. Pero ano yun? Ano yung other component? Equity, because it's a revenue, right? So, revenue yung increase, and then cash increased. Next, nag-withdraw ka ng 1,000 cash for personal use. Ano yung affected? Assets go down, and then equity, pero this time it's called owner's drawings, right? And then, nag-perform ka ng 6,400 of services on account. How would you treat that? That would be an asset. Why? Kasi meron kang receivable, right? So, hindi ka pa nababayaran ng cash na 6,400, pero may receivable ako na 6,400. On the equity side, that's what you call service revenue, right? So, may equity, tumaas yung equity ko, that's a revenue on my end, pero it's called a receivable on my end, right? Next, nagbayad ka ng 2,500 for your salary. Obviously, cash goes down, so asset goes down. And then this would be equity, kasi expense lang. Wala namang sinabing may utang ka dun sa employee, right? So, equity. Now, on May 18, bumili ka ng sapatos from the cash ng 1,000. Anong effect nito? Wala. You don't record. Kasi it's personal. So, correct. Wala to. Right? Kasi na-account mo na eh. Nawala na yung 1,000. Kung ano yung gamitin mo dun, wala na tayong pake. Right? You paid 600 supplies for May 3. So, nung May 3, right, may utang tayo. So, our liabilities went down. From 800 yung liabilities natin, nabayaran na natin ng 300, so 500 na lang yung liabilities natin. So, bumaba si liabilities. Bumaba rin yung asset kasi nagbayad ka ng cash. 23. You received 4,000, so on May 15. Yung 6,400, out of those, finally may na-receive kang 4,000. What will happen? Your cash will increase by 4,000, pero ano yung bababa? Accounts receivable bababa. So, ang mangyayari dyan, your cash will go up, but your accounts receivable will go down. Pero magbabalance pa rin. Right? The assets remain the same. Right? Nag-iba lang yung classification. Naging cash lang. Right? You borrowed 5,000 from the bank. This is asset increases, liabilities increase. And then you purchase equipment for 4,000 on account. Ano to? Asset increases and liabilities increase. And then finally, you pay 275 for utilities. Expense. So, down. Right? So, what are the things that I want you to look into? Every time mag-journal entry ka or every time may transaction ka, when you really think about it, balance siya. Like, kung that, it partners, right? Even here, na may tumaas sa isang side, bumaba rin siya. Nagbabalance siya altogether. So, the only reason why we're doing this is so that meron tayong guide that everything balances out. Now, let's go to the advanced transaction analysis. Same idea, lalagyan lang natin ng components and ng monetary amount. So, in terms of the quiz, one of the quote-unquote hard parts is the expectation na kailangan marunong kayong mag-advanced transaction analysis on your own. So, ito yung kailangan yung paghandaan for the quiz. So, let's take it step by step. Step 1. On the first column, take note that these are transactions. Every transaction may isang row. That's step 1. Step 2, you create your assets, your liabilities, and your equity. Sa equity, yung 4 subcomponents niya are your components. Owner's capital, owner's drawings, revenue, and expense. Sa your liabilities, it will depend, pero mostly it's accounts payable and notes payable. You can use shortcuts, by the way, so AP and B. Pwede rin yun. And then assets, the most common are cash, receivable, supplies, and equipment. So, ang gagawin lang natin is per transaction, we're gonna be analyzing. So, 7,000 cash in business. Ano yung ma-affect? Cash and owner's capital. So, cash and owner's capital. And by the way, kung may questions kayo in any part, sabihin nyo sa akin. Number 2, you paid office rent for the month. Bababa si cash. So, minus 900. And then, ano yung mangyayari? Expense. Right? So, meron tayong expense there. Next. Nag-purchase ka ng 800 of supplies on account. So, ano yung tataas? Supplies. And then, nagkaroon tayo ng liabilities or accounts payable. And then, you paid 125. Ano mangyayari dito? It's a? So, una, bababa si cash. And ano yung sa kabila? Sa equity? Expense. So, and then for this, okay lang naman, pero basically you just name the expense, like marketing expense, right? So, generally, these are just expenses. Next, you receive 4,000 for services performed. So, sa asset, ano yung ma-affect? Cash, kasi received in cash, right? And then, in the component, it's a equity. Anong equity? Revenue. Right? So, revenue. 4,000, 4,000. Withdrew 1,000 cash for personal use. Ano yung bababa si cash? And ano sa equity? Drawings. Yeah. 15. Perform 6,400 of services on account. So, ano tataas dito? Receivable. Pero that's a revenue. Right? Next, you paid 2,500 for employee salaries. So, bababa lang si, and that's gonna be an, So cash and expense. Bought shoes using cash withdrawn on May 12. Wala. No effect. Economic entity, right? Paid 600 of supplies purchased on May 30. So yung supplies mo, of 800, may accounts payable ka. Now, you paid 600 of your utang. Ano yung ma-affect therefore? Cash and ano yung component na bababa? So, minus 600 na cash, minus 600 na accounts payable. And that's a good news kasi bumababa na yung liabilities natin. Received 4,000 for May 15. So, itong 6,400 na receivable, 4,000 round na receive mo in cash. So, ano yung mangyayari? Increase yung cash ng 4,000, bababa si receivable. Borrowed 5,000 from the bank, tataas si cash. Saan to makukuha? Notes payable. Right? So, it's a notes payable. And then finally, last two, you purchase equipment. So, saan pupunta si, ito? 4-2. Equipment, and then dahil on account, magiging accounts payable. And then finally, 275 for utilities, bababa si, and then that's gonna be an expense. And then, so, ang dami nangyari, pero basically, we listed down everything. And then now, you just get the subtotals. Right? So, kailangan may calculator kayo, by the way. Yeah. So, yan. So, lalabas yan lahat. So, each account may subtotal. So, ang cash mo at the end is 14,600. Your receivables is 2,400. Your supplies is 800. And your equipment is 4,200. Your accounts payable is 4,400. Your notes payable is 5,000. Your owner's drawings is 7,100 and then 10,400 in expenses. So, offhand, if I ask you, net income or net loss, ano sasabihin niyo? Net income. So, 10,400 revenue, 3,800 expense. So, that's gonna be net income. So, mataas si revenue. So, pag in-add nyo itong lahat, you'll have your assets, 22,000. Pag in-add nyo yung liabilities, the ones in red, that's 9,400. Without having to add this, ano dapat to? It should be 22,000 minus 9,400 will be 12,600. So even if hindi nyo na ito i-add, ito dapat mag-balance. So 12,600. So therefore, magbabalance ba siya? 22,000, 22,000. Nag-balance. So that's basically accounting in a nutshell. So for me, my request is, ulitin nyo ito on your own. Dapat gets nyo how it works. And then, for this, no need to write it down ideally sa pen and paper, but you can just use an Excel, like what I did. And then just make sure you get the right numbers. And then the idea here is that your assets should be equal to your liabilities plus equity. Right? So lastly, the last thing I wanted to discuss today would be our preparation of financial statements. So tapos na tayo mag-record, we're just gonna be communicating. So for this, one of the things I want to highlight is there are 5 general statements. We're gonna be focusing on 3. Income statement, balance sheet, and changes in equity. So, ito yung idea. May advanced transaction analysis ka. The first thing you'll do is you're gonna make your IS or your